Hello everybody and welcome back to Muramasa the Demon's Blade. These are the final endings. To get these endings, merely equip the Obora Muramasa. Now unfortunately, the starting cutscenes and the boss fights for each fight are the exact same. So let's just skip ahead of that, you know? They give you a little bit of a, they kind of tease you a little bit by leading into the original cutscene before giving you the alternate cutscene. Now previously, Jinkuro cursed Muramasa for not having a blade that could cut fate, but now that we do, say hello to Jinkuro. He's a very normal-looking Ronin. In fact, I think he even has the Dark Resurrection Blade. This ending is particularly cool because we get to see the actual incident that caused Momohime's story. Where are the cherry blossoms, Momohime? Are we standing in front of them? I don't see them. Now, Jinkuro actually has animations, just a walk cycle though. If you ever try to look up, he just kind of scowls. Also, man, Jinkuro did not do leg day. Look at how tiny his lower body is. The moment you get to the hip, it's just gone. It's a little weird to me. I could kind of see why he wants to get rid of his body. Also, look at how much of a shitheel Yukinojo is. Now keep in mind, Yukinojo is actually one of the key factors in the entire incident of the Narukami clan falling and the turbulence that Momohime and Torahime go through. And Jinkuro just lets him go. Yep. If it wasn't obvious before, Jinkuro actually became quite enamored with Momohime during his adventures. And now he's willing to die just so she could live. And now for a familiar looking cutscene. I'm kind of surprised that we came back to these three maids. I don't know if this is a asset reuse or being like very cheeky with the ending, but I still like it. It's a very misleading thing, and it's well done, honestly. Because you still think, did we really change fate, though? But now there's a fourth maid.
何かあったのですか？
縄文の前に雪倒れた浪人が屍を晒しておりますので、一応の見聞にお役人様が参ったのでございます。
A destitute Ronin, huh?
息を引き取られるとは、おかわいそうに。これも何かの縁。わらわからもお願い申します。その方を手厚く葬ってあげてください。
Yeah, I wonder if that samurai's fate was to just die. What a cute looking maid.
おや、見かけぬ顔じゃが、そなたは？身の回りをお世話いたします。菊にございます。
So, if you can't tell from the name, the demeanor, and the voice, that's Kongiku. So guess who this is?
いかがいたした。故郷が恋しくなられましたかな。不自由があれば申してください。良きに計らいましょう。
I like how he even uses the same line that Yukinojo used when Momohime was going to become a nun.
こうして柳生と鏡、両家の関係が盤石となった今、お上の覚えもめでたく、鳴神藩も安泰。まっことめでたきことにござろう。
雪之丞様は以前より荒々しくなられたように思います。何かお気に
And if it wasn't obvious before, these two lines kind of give it away. Jinkuro succeeded. He foregoed fate by not attacking Yukinojo in the night, so he just decides to do it in the morning. And now he succeeded. He has Yukinojo's, he has his notoriety, he has his clout, he has his position in the government. He has Momohime now. But now that he has all this, he has a new ambition. I remember somebody in the essay thread mentioning that Yukinojo would be the cornerstone for the traditional swordplay in Japan with the Shinkage style. But what if it wasn't the Shinkage style? So this is the absolute good end for Momohime and Jinkuro. Jinkuro succeeds, Momohime stays alive, they live a wonderful life, Jinkuro gets a new sword style, and Yukinojo's fucking dead. Cause that asshole deserves it. Unfortunately, something still plagues Jinkuro.
暗躍の証拠が随所に見受けられると教えてくださるのは今に研究を続ける学者先生でございます。 Now I want to say that that scholar is actually Rankai, but there's no evidence to that matter. And yeah, it's a really good ending. It's good to see that they lived a very nice lifestyle. Now, much like all the other endings, you normally get credits after this announcer thing, but we're not quite there yet. We still got one more ending to view. So let's see what Kisuke gets with his ending. Luckily, his ramps up a lot quicker. He doesn't have a god making a speech beforehand. He just gets the Kuzuryu blade and then time travels.
なんだ、夢か。うつらうつらして妙な夢を見ちまった。いよいよだってのにしっかりしねえといけねえ。
As I mentioned before, it's really nice that you can see the catalyzing events that started the story. Mainly because the questions are finally answered, which is really satisfying in a video game. especially since he started with a cold opening.
様を守れるんなら里の掟なんて背中にあるこのミミズバレは何だ
Also, Kisuke is a lot less aware of these circumstances.
刀傷じゃねえか驚いた
Yeah, if you want specificity, that is supposedly the scar that Chiguri Bishamon left on Kisuke. But now that he's aware of his power, Kisuke goes a little batshit crazy.
雪の城にことづけてくれ俺は忍びをやめるってな
Yeah, I'm pretty sure by this point Yukinojo is fucking dead. So you'd be telling, what's his face, Jinkuro, that news.
口を開けば起きて肩が凝って仕方がねえやよく見ておけ俺が生き抜いた抜け人の一人目だ
Also, look how nice Torihime looks without the helmet. She looks very normal. A very nice and quaint design. You can see why Kisuke would just cut through millions of people just to protect her.
だがあんただけは二度と死なせるものか
Now, Kisuke's story gets a little convoluted in a way. Not in terms of plot holes, but mainly how events are framed.
自在に操るのがおぼろ流悪いが俺は操れねえ天に昇る企みもここまでだ二度と悪さできねえように血と焼きを入れてやる
I'm gonna crawl into the sword and then beat the shit out of you, dog.
ドクロ谷の忍びども使命は失敗だとっとと消えなさもなきゃクズ流の切れ味をその身で試すことになるぜ
There's a lot of talk in the thread about how Kisuke's story is a lot more cinematic, like framed like a story. And you can tell with how Kisuke ends all of his scenes. And then there's also this. This is kind of what I mean by things being framed peculiarly. Because due to Kisuke's actions, he actually calls out Danjo's Shikami for his corruption.
身どもを愚弄されるのか根も葉もない言いがかりも大概でござろう
動かぬ証拠が見たいのか浅ましき防御と証文の密書主席も花王も措置の者に相違あるまい講義隠密と通じお家転覆を図って
I don't know how Torihime figured this out. I think Kisuke actively spied on him. But I don't think Kisuke ever had the foreknowledge of a traitor in the Narukami clan. Also, I'm led to believe that this happens a little bit after Kisuke stops the actions of the Skull Valley ninjas. Because it's led to believe that he constantly sneaks into the Narukami clan after this. Though I do like how empathetic this samurai is in particular. Everybody else is like, we're gonna kill you now, Kisuke. And then Samurai's like, dude, just give up, man.
獅子心中の虫は捕らえたか虎姫これでひとまず安心だ
キスケ九十竜を返すのじゃ
Now, you don't really get a kind of time framing for these actions, so it's a little hard to figure out the time frame in between when Kisuke stops the Skull Ninjas to this, to what happens later. I want to say it's like 1 or 2 months. But yeah, Kisuke did all of this. He did everything just so Torihime could be a normal little girl. Well, a normal teenage girl, I should say. However, his passion would be short-lived. In one way, I should say. So this is gonna be an interesting thing. What Kisuke plans to do is slay evil across the land, explicitly using the Kuzuryu just to drain out its energies. That way it won't have any energy to attempt its accursed plot ever again. And all of this is a profession of love to Torahime, which is why it's sort of short-lived. Kisuke is madly in love with Torahime and vice versa. However, he has a task he has to do, which requires him to go all over the world, all for love.
かくしておぼろ村正の空前絶後の旅の始まり、海の向こうに舞台を移し、八面六臂の大活躍。
Now, I also mentioned that the writers of this game like to treat Kisuke's story both like a kind of cinematic thing and also as kind of like a shonen manga, you know, like power, all the power opera and bullshit. I also like the fact that Kisuke goes all over the planet, even America. But yeah, 20 volumes of his story, that's a little silly.
それはまた別の機会に申し上げることといたしまして、ひとまず妖刀村正忍法帳物語の一巻はこれにておしまい。
And after all that, we are finally done with the main story of Muramasa the Demon Blade. So let's watch the credits. Oh, what a wild ride. This has been a task long in the making, but I'm glad we're finally here. Now, we're still not quite done with the LP. I still have the DLC to do, which is going to be a little bit longer. Not as long as the main story, but it's a bit of a task. But yeah, you get to see, I believe... Oh no, there's still some mystery voices. I never did quite figure out who the question mark characters are. I want to say they're the grandma and grandpa from Momohime's second ending, but I don't think that's the case. I love how all the bosses are getting credits too, that's wonderful. Oh no, Tea House Girl and Old Woman. Oh no, Tea House Woman is the food merchant. Tofu Peddler being the yokai we talked about in that one video. And yeah, the localization for this game is a little weird. Initially, it was handled by Marvelous Entertainment, which is now Marvelous AQL. But that was for the Wii version of the game. For the Vita version, it was handled by Arxis, which is famous for, oh, I'm probably getting this wrong. They localized Guilty Gear, I think? Because I know Guilty Gear is by Arc System Works. And I always get Arc System Works and Arxis mixed up. But I believe Arxis localized Guilty Gear as well. But yeah, by completing all 6 endings, our labors actually pay off in many ways, specifically seen in the credits, which we'll get to soon. But wow, there's just a nice feeling of closure when you get the final endings. I honestly think Kisuke's final ending is the most tragic just because of what he had to go through. he finally did everything possible to save Torihime's life and they could live a normal and loving life. But since the Kuzuryu blade is still in existence, he has to drain the energies. And because of that, he is forced to be separated from his love for the longest time. It's a very Princess Bride ending if you think about it. Meanwhile, Jinkuro's ending is very positive. He succeeds in his plan, saves the day by killing Yukinojo, gets the girl, and lives a long and fruitful life with Momohime. But yeah, on the credits, every credit sequence you get gives you alternate sequences, mainly in the first and third endings. For the first ending with Momohime, we get her as in battle mode. I don't know if she's possessed by Jinkuro or not, but we get her walking through a wheat field. For her third ending, we get this nice little look, this vector art here. I think it's supposed to symbolize the no need for combat anymore because the blades that the Muramasa would cut, or the leaves that the Muramasa would cut, are not getting cut anymore. Anyways, this is Kisuke's first ending that shows Torihime riding off into battle. And his third credit sequence are the oceans. This is supposed to symbolize him going off into the world, exploring the lands of Russia, India, France, and America. But it's also the background that you see when you fight the octopus. But yeah, those are all four of the varying credit sequences that you see from beating each of the campaigns. But there's still a little bit more that we get at the tail end of this. Naturally, they gotta build it up because Base Escape are really great musicians and they know how to build up to a climax, and this is what they're doing with the credits. They're slowly building up tempo so they could give you a one last, final bombastic ending. Now for Momohime, we get this splash art. What a cute family. While Kisuke gets this. I believe that's the mesa out in Arizona. He's just chilling in America. Now, on the terms of the DLC, what's gonna happen is the DLC operates very differently. What happens is all four stories start with a cold opening with a boss fight. Then you travel to an area to go to another boss fight. Then you travel to a third area to get your ending. Now, in order to get one ending, you just beat the game. To get the second ending, you have to play the entire game all over again as that character. That's all, what? That's 8, 16. Yeah, that's 16 bosses. You have to do all 16 of the bosses 4 times, once for each character, to get a specific item that will alter the ending. Now, what I'm going to do for these episodes is it's going to be, for the main plot of each story, it's going to be either 2 or 3 videos, depending on how long I take during the boss fights. And I think I'm going to make all 4 endings one last video. Though I don't know if I want to do that because some of the credit sequence for the endings is a little quaint, very nice, and I feel like some of them deserve their own thing. So once this video goes up, I'll have a poll that will help you, the viewer, determine how this is going to end. Do you want the alternate endings for the DLC to be one big glob of just endings, or do you want them to be their own 4 separate videos? Till next time, folks. I gotta record those DLCs. Shit.